All right, Leetcode, weekly contest, 445. Q1, find the closest person. You're given three integers, x, y, and z, representing the positions of three people on a number line. X is the position of person 1, y is the position of person 2, and z is the position of person 3 who does not move. Both person 1 and person 2 move toward person 3 at the same speed. Determine which person reaches person 3 first. Return 1 if... so it's just who's closest? Return 0 if they arrive at the same time. Okay, so I guess nobody gets in anybody's way. There's no traffic jams. Okay. So... let's say x delta y delta equals the absolute value of x minus z, absolute value of y minus z. Now, if x of d is less than y of d, wait, what? If x of d is less than y of d, then return person 1 is x, yeah. If x of d equals y of d, return 0, else return 2. Run. Okay, output 1, output 2, output 0. Submit. All right, sweet. Next question. How do I go to the next question? Okay. Smallest palindromic rearrangement. You're given a palindromic string S. Return the lexigraphically smallest palindromic permutation of S. A string is palindromic if it reads the same forward and backward. A permutation is a rearrangement of all the letters of a string. A string is lexigraphically smaller than string B. Okay. If the first minute, then the shorter string is a lexigraphically smaller one. That makes sense. Now we already know that it is a valid palindrome, so it is possible to be a valid palindrome. So I think we should start C equals counter of S, and then we should say STEN equals boom, boom. Now everything that we add to the beginning has to be also added to the end. And there must be a parity of everything except one possible odd lot, which would end up in the middle. I think that's true. Well, yeah, of course it's true. Okay, let's attempt to remove the odd lot. We will say odd. Okay. Odd lot equals that if length of S mod 2, then so it's already a palindrome, right? Yeah, okay, so there has to be one. Then we will say for C, comma, V, no, character, comma, count in C dot items. Okay, if ent mod 2, don't need to say that. Well, then I guess we can just say odd lot equals CH. And we can break. Okay, and then we're going to say C of odd lot minus equals 1, and then if C of odd lot equals 0, then DLC of odd lot. Okay. Now we have perfect parity for all remaining items, which should make this easy. So, what's the maximum length? Oh, length can be quite long. All right. Probably need something a little bit more efficient than one at a time. We will say for ch in c.keys, and this will be sorted. So we want the smallest one first to make the lexicographically smallest end result. Then, yeah, v e. Well, no. Let's do v. That's fine. Equals c of ch divided by 2. I was going to put an assert in there, but I can't run this on everything, so let's not do that. All right, and then it's going to be st. You know what? We don't need a separate. EN. We can use reversed. St plus equals v times, ch times v, like that. So we use as many of the lowest ones as we can get our hands on. Hold on. So x equals abc, like that. Reverse of x, no, let's see, reverse, wow. Okay, that's how we do it. All right. St plus odd lot plus join of reversed of what? Well, of st. All right, let's see if that works here. So z, well, that's kind of obvious. A, b, b, b. Is that right? A, triple b, A, C, D. Okay, looks like it's working. Yay! Fun, fun, fun. Uh-oh, these are listed as hard. Smallest palindromic rearrangement number 2. You're given a palindromic string s and an integer k. Return the kth lexicographically smallest palindromic permutation of s. If there are fewer than k distinct palindromic permutations, return an empty string. Interesting. Okay, well, let's start with our code from here. Come back. Okay, we would have to, swap it. So it's going to be the smallest one, and then we're going to... Interesting. Thinking here. Yeah, because you only have a certain number of choices. Crazy. Okay. I'm actually kind of struggling here. Now look at the constraints. They lowered the constraints. S is guaranteed to be palindromic. It might be the same. It doesn't matter. That's not going to help me. So we're going to start at the far right, and then... Yeah, but every time we choose a letter, it's going to affect things to the right, or to the left, I mean. How is that going to work? Okay, so let's say we have the 10 instances of the lowest value being, I don't know, A. Then there's going to be the number of spaces that we have. It's going to be like n choose k, right? So we can move those around, and then each one of those, then it will leave empty spaces, and that recursively allows us to go to the next letter. And then, you know, the further to the right it is, the higher the number is. Or something. I mean, I can either do it with DP or I can't figure it out. Maybe you could do it recursively. I need to shut that window. It's way too windy opening my door. Okay. Would that work? I think that I could make a recursive call, but I can't think of an efficient way of keeping track of how many numbers I have. I don't know how to do this. If I tried to make a copy of the counter for every level of the recursive call, well, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Because I'd have too many copies. It would recurse too many times. Now this is interesting. K is capped at 10 to the 6th. There's potentially very, very, very many of these. But we're never going to be looking for higher than the millionth. I wonder if that works to our advantage. Do something like a breadth first search. We could figure out the n choose k, and we could say, okay, every time we... Oh, shit. Well, think about it. When you have the lowest value, then the arrangements that you have available to you, there's exactly one. There's only one way to configure that. That's n choose n, right? Which is always equal to 1. And then the next one, oh, this is almost like a numeric base problem. This is a very interesting problem. Okay. So if you have 2, then the number of ways that you can arrange the second one is the number of configurations, is the number of ways you can sort it, right? And then you go up to the next one. So that's going to be the recursive operation. And then we only have to find out the iteration within that configuration. N-choose K formula. The N-choose K formula, also known as the combinations formula, is this. That's going to be too big. I don't know an efficient way to do this. I feel like I have an intuitive idea, but it's not something I'm gonna be able to churn out in the next 70 minutes. Let's look at the other problem. Count numbers with non-decreasing digits. You're given 2 integers L and R represented as strings and an integer B. Return the count of integers in the inclusive range L to R whose digits are in non-decreasing order when represented in base B. Okay, now the integer isn't in base B. The integer is base 10, right? Well, I think we just answered that question. Whoever wrote this likes bases, I can tell. An integer is considered to have non-decreasing digits if, when read from left to right, I think that's intuitive. Since the answer may be too large, return it modulo 10 to the 9th plus 7. Input L equals 23, R equals 28, B equals 8. The numbers from 23 to 28 in base R and length 100. The value represented by L is less than or equal to the value represented by C. L and R do not contain leading zeros. How high can B go? B can go to base 10. L and R. Okay, I think the first thing we need to do is convert these numbers into the corresponding base, which should be pretty easy. Okay, I don't know, modify. Let's have them be lists. So we're going to say int I int L. And then rm equals int r, and we will say while lm of 0 is greater than or equal to b, how do we do base conversions? Lm dot insert 0, comma lm 0 divided by b, and then lm of 1 mod equals b, right? And then we can do the same thing for rm. Let's make sure that this is right. We will say, I don't know, for I in reversed range length rm, c equals 1. C times equals b. Then we will say s equals 0, s times equals We don't need this. S times equals B, S plus equals Rm of I. And then assert S equals L. Yeah, Rm, LM, RM, LM, RM, LM, RM, LM. Okay. Turn 0. Invalid syntax. While LM of 0 is greater than or equal to B. To be or not to be. Okay. Okay, so this is incorrect apparently. So let's see. S, B, RM. All right, so S was 35. What the hell? Where did 35 come from? Oh. 35 is the incorrect number. It's supposed to be, then RM is 3 and 4, right? And this is base 8. So 8 times 3 is 24 plus 4 is 28. Oh God, did I just get them exactly backwards? Somehow. Well, that was kind of silly. Okay. 3, 4. Okay, so something's wrong here. LM of I. So we add 4, right? And that this shouldn't be reversed. I changed how I was doing it and only half changed it. Okay, that gets rid of the assertion. Okay. All right. Yeah, RL length. Okay, so don't think we need the assert. I don't think we need any of this. All right, while length of LM is greater than length of RM, we will have RM dot insert 0, 0. And then while length of RM is greater than length of LM, LM dot insert 0, 0. So now they're the same length. Okay. So we want strictly increasing digits, right? But they cannot exceed RM. Okay. Def CNT. Let's just do C. C. So it's going to be position, minimum digit. That's it. Minimum digit. Okay. So if I equals length of RM, then return 1. It's exactly one way to do it. Okay. Otherwise, so RM is the higher number, right? RM, so if RM of I is, if RM of I is less than minimum digit, then return 0. We are done. Okay. Now once we increase the digit, we can't ever go backwards. So our choices are from minimum up to the base, right? I think we should probably pass in the base. All right. So for next digit in range, and we'll have an S here. For next digit in range, max digit up through, but not including base, S plus equals C of I plus 1. No. To min RM of I. We don't need this. It's going to be taken care of right here. Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. We can exceed the digit as long as a previous digit has been smaller. Okay. Touching top, right? Okay. Upper equals B. If touching top, we have to figure out how touching top is set. But once it's set, it can never be unset. If it's like we have two different, completely different logic paths. Maybe we should have two different methods. No, we'll figure this out. Okay. If touching top, then upper equals min upper, comma, RM of I. As soon as we drop below that, then we can do whatever we want. Yeah, we have to figure out how touching top gets set. Yeah, it has to have been the max from the very beginning, right? I think that touching top can only be set yeah, I think I had it backwards. I think touching top can be unset if we drop below it, but it can never go. And then once it's false, it can never be true again. Okay, so if we are going against the top of the number, then we have to limit what the upper bound is. And this is how we do that. N in range M to upper. Right? Yeah. Now, if upper Okay. If n equals Rm of I, and if n equals Rm of I, then if touching top, then it continues to touch the top. S plus equals C of I plus 1, comma, n, comma, b never changes. I feel like we shouldn't be passing b in. Whatever, it doesn't matter. True. It's going to remain true. Okay, if n equals Rm of I, then if touching top, then that. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, nothing. All right. Else, is that it? Interesting. Now, what about touching the bottom? Yeah, we said n. It's almost like there needs to be a touching bottom as well. Touching bottom. Okay. Now we have free range. Well, m has to increase. Yes, but it might have to increase. Okay, so if touching bottom equals, well, we'll say bottom equals m, right? And if it's, we can go bigger, but we can't go smaller. So bottom equals max of bottom, comma, is it lm? Yes, it is. Lm of I. We don't need plus 1. Okay, you know what? The first thing I notice here is that these are all exactly the same. Okay, still touching top equals touching top, right? Still touching bottom equals touching bottom. Okay, if n equals Rm of I and still touching top, then nothing. Only if both of these cases are true are we still, yeah, still, oh, it does not have fill. still touching top equals false. Okay. If n is, I mean, it can't go lower. If n is greater than lm of, if n equals lm of I and still touching bottom, then it should be true. But in any other case, it becomes false. This is making me nervous here. Okay, so as soon as you have gone above the bottom, this increases it, this decreases it. Yeah, and it can never revert, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Return S. All right. If touching top and Rm of I is greater than what? Rm of I is greater. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so returns. I'm a little bit nervous here. Okay, return sum of. You know what? If it's empty, then this might not work. So I say s equals 0 for I in. What the hell am I doing? Position 0, max 0, base true, true. Okay, output 3, output 2. Is this actually going to work? Oh, no. I was supposed to do modulo, wasn't I? Yeah. Modulo 10 to the 9th plus 6. Oh my god. 10 to the 9th plus 7. 6286600062. Well, that's annoying. All right. Return S mod 10 to the 9th plus 7. Use test case. Expected value. Run. Case 3. Output. Well, that was unfortunate. Woohoo! Okay. 48 minutes. Yeah. I don't think I can do it. I mean, I have a vague sense of how it would be done, but I don't think I can pull it off. Not in 48 minutes. It would be like one of those Project Weather problems that I spend like 7 hours on. Wonder if it's not as hard as I'm making it out to be. I mean, each arrangement is kind of like a binary number, right? Just where the number of ones. Yeah, so we have min or max, whichever, it doesn't matter, followed by some not min, not max. Does it go up by a power of 2 every time? I'm sorry. I don't want to spend the next 47 minutes just chasing. I don't know. I think I'm done here. See ya.